Okay.
Oh, now it says it's
Okay.
recording.
Okay, got it. Okay. I just want to make sure. Go ahead and ask what questions now?
When do we post our, like for example, our task 1? I posted it to the discussion board, and so I'll wait on my peer review, and I guess Whitaker will look at it, but when do I post it to you?
You can send it to me at any time. You don't ever have to you can send it to me. You know, I wanted to make sure that it's as close to a completed document as possible, but
Right.
but you can send it to me before you send it to anybody else.
Oh, okay.
I check if you go into, you know where to go and submit it for my review, don't you?
Yes.
I check that. I check it at least twice a day, and if I'm at home, I'll check it in the middle of the day as well. But if you put it in there, I'm not going to go to bed at nighttime until I have responded back. You know,
Okay.
put something in there. Normally, I will check it before I go to bed at nighttime, and then I will look at anything when I get up in the morning time before I get on the road, unless I have to be on the road real early.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of times with people's work schedules that they work, you know, they can't do it until they get home at nighttime and gets children taken care of, dinner taken care of, supper, or whatever. So I know to look at it during those times.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I feel like it's finished, but no one else has read it but me. So I didn't know if you wanted me to wait until someone else had read it before I gave it to you, or
Whose class are you in?
Whitaker.
Dr. Whitaker.
Mm-hmm.
We all have communicated, and if you want to basically at this point, if you want to see what she says, and then if she gives you some feedback and tells you you need to do this, you may want to just wait and send it to me then.
Okay. Okay.
Did you get the email I sent out this morning?
About the thing with Dr. Lamb?
Well, it's going to be Dr. Lamb and me on Thursday.
Yes,
and
I got that.
What we're going to do is, and we've deliberately just waited because we wanted to give y'all time to figure some things out yourself and to get adjusted with your new instructors. We wanted that as well. So we have deliberately stood back a little bit, and it may be repetitive, but it's okay if it is repetitive, but we're going to just basically go over the OMA requirements, and then I'm sure Dr. Lamb will go into further detail with other things, you know, for the semester. But that, you know, that will have, when is it due to Dr. Whitaker? When have you got to turn it into her?
Let me grab my calendar. I know she said have it posted at the beginning of this week for peer review, because the peer review is due by next Sunday, the 3rd.
Go ahead, and if you're going to send it to peer review, just go ahead and put it into that shell for me to look at it as well. And you know, I'll let you know if you need to include more. You know, I'll at least look at it, and then that'll give you something more to go on.
Okay, thanks.
So just put it in there, and I'll look at it as well. But I mean, it can't hurt.
Well, yeah, I just didn't. You know, I just wanted to make sure I gave it to you at the right time.
Yeah, anytime. There's no right or wrong time. Anytime's okay.
Okay. And then my second question was about task 2. I know that Dr. Lamb had said that that task 2 was pretty much the APTEL 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
My problem is that because my APTEL was focused on teacher, what we call teacher pods, where the teachers lead during their planning periods. They lead things that they feel like they're experts at.
Right.
And you know, and that's the kind of PD we do.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't really have anything to do with a special population. So what I was wondering is, do I need to take that further and like maybe specifically ask the EC teachers to lead a teacher pod, or encourage them to lead a teacher pod, or so that it's talking about a specific subgroup?
Okay. And I'm looking at it while you're talking.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and talk. That includes formative assessment. Okay, appropriate. And you're talking about task 2.
Yes, sir.
Instructional capacity building.
Mm-hmm.
With emphasis on exceptional learner program. Well, if you notice, when you go to task 3 is almost nothing but the exceptional children's program.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're on the right track. I think, Lori, I would suggest that you include that as a subgroup as well, since so much of the OMA is a whole section's devoted to exceptional learners.
Well, and I did ask, we did have our AIG teacher do a teacher pod for each grade level, talking about challenging the AIG students and that sort of thing. And so, so I thought maybe that I needed to also ask some of the
EC ask you this.
They would do the same thing.
Within the pods that you have already created, how do you address the exceptional learner?
Well, with the pods are teacher volunteer, and so it's whatever they choose to share with the group. So sometimes it's a technology-based thing. Sometimes it's like the one time it was talking about challenging AIG students in your classroom. But it's totally up to the teachers what they choose to present at these things. And that's I was wondering if maybe I should talk to or encourage some of our EC teachers to perhaps like give them a suggestion of something they could do at a teacher pod that would help everybody.
I would say yes.
Okay.
Because I think if you don't, it's almost like you've got the puzzle put together and you've got one piece that's not put in there.
Right.
So I think I would do that.
Okay, and so then we've already started the teacher pod program, so I'm good with that, and that's what I talked about in the APTEL. So I'll just kind of reiterate that and then add on what I'm asking the other teachers.
Right, yeah. And again, you've got a great foundation already, and it's just you're enhancing it. That's really all you're doing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's good. You're on the right track. That's great. That's great. Do you like this concept of how I'm going to set up times for y'all to just come on like this and to ask me questions? Now, you've got my phone number. You don't have to wait until now. If there's a question, call me during the week, because I don't want you to sit and wait several days if there's something that you can ask me, and then I can go ahead and clear it up in 2 minutes. So
is it okay with you if we just kind of, after we get our question asked, if we just kind of hang out and listen to see what other people's questions are?
Sure. I don't know how. I'm going to sit here and work and if you think something else, I'm going to work on other stuff. I just set this time aside just so that, as people, because most people are working on stuff right now. I know they are.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, no, you're welcome to hang out as long as I'm here.
Okay.
But anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
If you think of anything else, let me know. Okay.
Okay. Hey, Victoria.
Okay.
Hi, Lori. Lori, I was just looking at my notes from that that Zoom with Dr. Tillman, and I have that task 2 for the OMA. It says copy and paste APTEL task 1 through 3, and that becomes OMA task 2. Just make sure to remove APTEL labels. Is that what you have?
That's what I had too.
1 through 3 though?
Well, I don't think all of 1 through 3. I think the idea was that we had already kind of implemented something that had to do with this, and we just need to kind of figure out how to make it fit.
You're right, Victoria. What he meant by that was that if you go to those areas, you will find what you need. You just need to pick and choose what is applicable to what you're doing.
Okay.
It's not necessarily the whole thing. It's just that's where you go and find it.
Okay.
That's kind of that's kind of like your base, and then you build from there.
Mm-hmm. And it goes back to what Lori said just a few minutes ago. You may find the base, but you may need to enhance it. You may need to add something to it, at this point. But that's, like she said, it's the base of what you need. You don't have to reinvent it all over again.
Okay. Okay.
And whose class are you in, Lori?
I'm in Whitaker.
You're in. I mean, Victoria, what are you in?
I'm with Whitaker also.
And Dr. Whitaker's class as well. Okay.
I didn't get the impression that she really thought we should take from the APTEL. I may have just kind of misread
I
that.
got that impression too.
Okay, so, I mean, mine is focused on a special population. I'm a GT teacher, and so luckily it does align with that part of it also, but,
I got the impression though that she was kind of like, don't just copy and paste it exactly because you may or may not be addressing the prompt that way.
right.
And I understand where she's coming from, and it kind of goes back to what I just said. That's a base, and you go and you pull from it what is applicable and what you can use. I think that's what she meant, not necessarily go there. It's just that it's not just a simple copy and paste. I think that's. I'm almost positive that's what she means.
Okay. So I've had my OMA 1 finished, but I'm having a hard time tracking down the laws that I need for this paper. I have looked through so many different statutes and articles and things, but what I'm seeming to find is things that are related more to teacher certification or dismissing a teacher.
Hold just a second. Hold just a second. Let me shut this door and put this
Okay.
out right here. There. With the law, you know, when you're dealing with special populations, you know, I think, you know, what is the law, the state and federal law as it relates to special populations? And again, there's a lot of it out there. You need to fine tune it, condense it to what is applicable to what you're having to do here. You know, you can't put it all in there. You know, and again, what is it, the law as it applies to the process for identifying students in the Exceptional Children's Program, you know, the timelines, you know, the tiers and things, and those kinds of things that you have to work with. That's what I think that's what, you know, that law's. That's the law you need to look after that. Do what now?
Is that mostly in task 2?
Yeah, no, task 3. Task 3 is where you really attack the Exceptional Children's Program. Task
okay,
3,
so for task 1, where it says you're doing the analysis of the school context, and you're looking at the management routines and the operations routines, and in that management section, it says an understanding of district, state, and federal policy. And so the laws
what you're doing in task 1, you're basically there's lots of stuff out there, and all you're doing is you're finding all the stuff that basically runs your school. And again, it goes back to your schedules, your master schedule. It goes back to duty rosters. It goes back to you're looking at stuff that's already out there, like your academic, the school report card, supervision schedules, the school improvement team and their involvement or lack of. You're looking at the local school budget, and when you look at that, you know that you're looking at you know, what money's come into your school. And when you look at the local school budget, you've got to look at it from the federal aspect of things, the state aspect of things, and you know what money comes from your county commissioners. Those, all you're doing is just with task 1, you're just gathering. It's like you're gathering everything that you humanly possibly can gather about the context of your school. You're analyzing it. This is what it is. Now your school is going to be, a lot of it's going to be the same, but then there's going to be things that's going to be at your school that won't be at Lori's school.
right.
You know, there's some things. So you're just kind of putting it out there, and that's where the copy and paste comes in. But then your narrative work is going to tie it all together and make it make sense. Then the subsequent tasks are going to begin looking at all that stuff that you've gathered in task 1, and it's going to begin to break it down and to look at it, and you're going to actually look at it, what's good about it, what's not good about it, what do we keep, what do we need to suggest as changes that's going to move our organization in a more positive direction. But task 1 is you're gathering all the artifacts that you can possibly gather.
Okay.
And it can be pretty cumbersome. I've had students before, Dr. Lamb and I have had students before that one section was, well, we had one student that their whole OMA was over 200 pages when they got through with it. They were that detailed. Now, I'm not telling you have to be that detailed, but I'm just saying that they got that involved in the analysis of their organization.
Right.
Victoria, do you have anywhere in South Carolina that tells you how many days you have to go to school or how many hours you have to go to school?
I was trying to find that today. Like, I know our work day is 7.5 hours, but I can't find any law.
Now, North Carolina has on their DPI website, they
She's
have
from
all
South
that
Carolina,
information, and South Carolina's DPI website should have that information, and it should be. North Carolina has a state law book. Does South Carolina have a state law book?
I found all kinds of lists at the different websites, but like I said, I don't know, maybe I'm just not knowing what to search. But for this part of it, I'm analyzing her schedules, her duty, are the students properly supervised, and it's like the laws that I need to reference that I can't find. The ones I'm finding are more like teacher certification laws and student-teacher ratios in the classroom. And
Victoria, have you asked your administrator if they have a law book?
I asked her about laws, and she said that she wasn't really too familiar.
Wow.
Hey, Victoria,
Let me just say, I have a completely new administration in my school, as well as a new coach, first year AP, and a new superintendent. So,
lots of new things. So what district is this in, Victoria?
Spartanburg 2.
Spartanburg 2, okay.
Victoria, I'm getting ready to email you a link that I think may help you.
Okay, thank you. I've tracked down as much of the district and state demographic data on the students, but as far as laws referencing that, and I'm sure once I get to task 2 and then I'm addressing the schedules for resource students and GT students, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find the laws that apply to those scenarios. But I thought I had to refer to laws as far as her management routines too.
There are, and there are some state laws that are out there, and I know they're there because of some of the work from other South Carolina students. I just don't know exactly where to tell you to go.
Right.
But there are statutes pretty much that regulate about everything how you do it, and the statutes. This federal law basically allows state law to govern the schools. Federal law, with your exceptional children's program, you're mandated by federal law sort of thing. But pretty much federal law, the feds back off and they say, state government, you handle it. They don't have time to do it.
Right.
Too busy. So state law pretty much governs so there should be state statutes and regulations out there somewhere in South Carolina that can tell you what you need to know. Now, if there is a for your district, there should be something even from the central services level that local policy is operating by, and all of this has to come from state law too, whatever they've got. So,
okay.
So I would Have you been to your district website to see if there's anything at all out there?
They have a policy, I guess like a policy manual, but when I click on it, there are just so many tabs and then tabs within tabs within tabs, and I just can't seem to find anything that matches what I need.
Let me ask you this. Who else in your class is from South Carolina?
Sally Schubeck's in my building. There's also, I think her last name's McLean. In another section, there's Michelle Lockwood. I believe that's it.
Let me tell you what I would suggest doing, Lori. I would connect with the South Carolina people that you can, and set up a Zoom session, and just you South Carolina people brainstorm with each other and help each other out.
Okay.
I think it's there, and I think there's no sense in, and if one person can look for this and help each other out, and make it as easy as you can on each other.
Okay. I had already planned to pick Sally's brain in the morning, but my goal was to have one uploaded today, but I didn't want to upload it until I cited those laws. So, and
remember that it's okay. Remember that this is just it's a discussion board, it's a review, and you've got time before it's to be finally submitted. And you could actually upload it if you felt like you needed to, and just say that it's a work in progress and that you're still looking for that information, and you will include it once you find it.
Okay. Well, so about that, my question for you, once we post it for peer review, do you want us to wait until we receive a peer review to also submit it to you?
I said this to a student maybe it may be in Lori that I said it to. You can send it to me anytime. There is never a time that I'd like for it to be as comprehensive as you can, when you send it, because of how many students that I'm looking at.
Right.
But you can go into that shell. I check it 2 and 3 times a day. So if it's there, I'm going to look at it and I'm going to give you some feedback on it. So you don't have to wait. You can send it to me anytime.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, and y'all can call me anytime. Hey, Barbara.
Hi, I'm also from South Carolina, so I missed the question that was asked, but
Victoria said that she was having a hard time finding some of the laws and the statutes and things. So you heard what I just said. I would encourage the South Carolina people to, Lori, you hear Barbara asking the same question. So I would suggest, y'all can make a connection and help each other out. I know it's out there because other South Carolina students that have already completed the program were able to successfully find what they needed.
Right.
It's just a matter of connecting and help each other out with that. But I would. Where do you work, Barbara? Where's your school? What's your district?
Berkeley County.
Berkeley County
area.
And where is that located near?
About 20 miles from Charleston.
Charleston, okay. Have you talked with your administrator about a policy, a state law book or a policy book with the statutes and the things that regulate what they can and cannot do, that as it relates to all of the tasks that you're having to do this time? Have you talked with them yet?
I talked to my administrator. She referred me to the plans that were available on the district website, but those don't state the South Carolina laws and statutes.
Okay.
My personal problem is maybe I'm just not searching the right terms, but I mean, these pages and pages of statutes and articles and things that I'm pulling up, I mean, there's a lot out there, but none of it, as far as the management routines, the laws that I would need to refer to, how many hours a week do students need for physical education or physical activity? How many, children can one teacher supervise during lunch? Those types of things, I'm not finding those things.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't find any of that stuff in North Carolina either. It's very vague in North Carolina as far as, you know, you have to be in school this many hours, but there's nothing to say how long you have to be in any class. There's nothing to say how long you have to have math or reading or anything like that, or PE. I mean, I didn't see anything that gave those specific of any laws.
Wow. And see, the answers I get when I talk to administration, well, you know, the law says we can't take recess, but they don't, they can't tell me which law says that. So I'm just searching.
See if I can find it. Keep on talking. I'm looking for something that.
What I ended up doing as far as citing the laws is, for example, we've gone to more of a pullout instead of an inclusion model for EC. And so I found the law that shows why we could do that, because, you know, with the least restrictive environment, you know, you're supposed to try to get them in the least restrictive environment. So I found the law that said why it was okay for us to go to, because if they're not being, there's a law that says if they're not being successful, then, you know, you can change their setting and pull them out or whatever. And then as far as the number of hours, you know, I mean, I said how long we were in, how long they had language arts and how long they had math, but there is nothing in the laws that says how long they have to have that. And I asked my principal about it. I said, is there anything saying that their elective classes have to be 45 minutes? He said, no, I could make them 15 if I wanted to.
Okay. Well, now.
So he didn't know of any laws either that were that specific.
Okay. And there may not be. And if it's not there, then, you know, the thing is, you're doing your research by asking the questions. And, you know, if you've gone to your site administrator, if you've gone to your district, if you've looked in your district, then, you know, your narrative work is, you know, what you just said. You know, that, you know, if it's not there, it's not there, is my point.
Okay.
But there is a manual, though, unless they just quit making them. When I was a principal, we had a law manual that came from the Department of Public Instruction that in it had the statutes exactly. You know, it would tell us, you know, according to this law or this statute, this is what you have to do. You know, it regular even with and you mentioned physical education. I know that it was 150 minutes of physical education a week for an elementary school child. And in North Carolina, in addition to that, they had to have physical activity in addition to physical education, and that was for just, if it was nothing but to walk around the parameters of the campus, you know,
right.
they had to have that as well. But the law was 150 minutes of physical education activity, and I don't think that has changed in North Carolina, not for elementary school children. I do know that the law is out there in North Carolina about, you know, that there has to be 180 days of school for students a year. There has to be, or number of, it's either 180 days or it goes back to, they can even break it down into to hours or minutes, you know, and but there is law about that, because they have to go back and revisit that because of all of the with Hurricane Florence and Matthew. They've had to go back and they have had to get special permission, just like in the county I'm from. They had to go back and say, you're excused several weeks of school because of you know, the acts of nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that information is there. I would continue to look for it, but I would highly recommend, again, Victoria, that the South Carolina people as much as you can. Just form a little cohort separate from your Zoom groups and just do your own little Zoom group just to get your information. Just
Okay.
help each other out with that. I will keep on looking. And in the meantime, I'm going to talk with Dr. Lamb. We're coming online on Thursday. And I know you need some things now, but by Thursday, I'm going to ask him, and we may be able to share with you some extra things by the time we come online on Thursday. That's going to be my goal.
Okay.
We'll do some research ourselves and see what else we can find.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just upload one to you, and you can, I mean, I've put in places in red, you know, site law here type thing. So,
Right.
And I'll just tell you once I nail those down, I'll add those back in, but you can at least go
I
ahead
can
and
let you
tell
know
me.
if you're on the right track. That's what I can do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Thank
what
you.
I'll do.
Okay.
You know, I probably won't be specific about things. I'll just, you know, if anybody is just off base, I'll just say you're off base. You need to get. But if you're on the right track, I'll just say keep on doing what we talked about. You know,
Okay.
that you're on the right track.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, one, I really wanted to move into two, you know, in the next couple of days, but I first want to make sure I haven't completely missed the mark
Right.
with one.
Right. Well, now, but again, all of you that are online, remember, task one, you're gathering lots of stuff. It's going to be lots of stuff. Anything you can find that you know. Again, it goes back to, you know, you're going to. There's a master schedule already out there. All you're doing is copying and pasting that, because you're going to go back in another task. You're going to go back and you're going to say, you know, you're going to suggest revisions to the master schedule that's going to make improvements in your school. So you've got to have what you got to be able to determine what you need to do. So again, task one, y'all are just gathering lots of stuff. Lots of artifacts are going to go into task one. In and everything that you can think of. Your master schedule, again, your school report card, you know, duty rosters, supervision schedules, you know, your school improvement team. Again, are they involved in, you know, what did they do? What is their impact? You're going to look at the local school budget, and when you look at that, state, federal, and, you know, look, where did the monies come from? Is there a system for teacher involvement in the budgeting process? You know, those kinds of things. And again, you're going to introduce your, you know, all special populations. There are four, when you go to task one, there are four areas. Just make sure that you look at each of those areas and you have covered each one of those four boxes as much as you possibly can. And again, some schools are going to have some things differently than others in those areas. So, you know, some things going to be the same, but some may be different.
And when you say we're copying and pasting those schedules and things, do they need to go directly into the narrative? Should they be attached in the appendices? Do you have a preference?
I think I would put it in the narrative work, because as you're reading it, it just makes sense if you can look at it and say, and then if you put it in the narrative, there's no sense in putting it in the appendices as well. There's no sense in it being in two places.
Agreed.
I mean,
Thank you.
You know, why would you want a 10-page schedule and then have to put it at the end as well? You know, some things you just don't need to put it twice.
Okay, so that's something you'll put on mine, because I put all of my schedules in the appendix.
Okay,
Well,
that's
Lori,
okay.
you know how much back and
But it
forth
doesn't
we have
matter.
back.
You can, but I'm just saying that I'm not going to strain at something like that. If I've seen it one time, I really don't have to. If it's charts and figures and things like that, then naturally we want to
Oh,
make sure
yeah,
that
no,
we're
I've got
following APA and things
like
like
our
that.
master schedule and our delay schedule and our early
Yeah.
dismissal schedule. I just put all those in the appendix.
And that's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
You can go back and weed it out at some point. You know, when we start putting all this together, if you need to take some things out, it's okay to take it out at a later time. So,
Okay.
you know, it's okay. Barbara, are you still there? Barbara, Can you hear me? Okay, Kendra, can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Okay,
hear you.
Barbara,
Sorry, I had my
Barbara,
mute on.
were you able to, did you understand some direction that was telling y'all to go in?
Yes, to put
Okay.
put as much as we can in the narrative
Right,
versus doing attachments. So then we would put them, since we didn't create them, they would be figures then.
right. Now,
Okay.
whose class are you in, Barbara?
We are in, I'm in, not Dr. Zion's. I am,
You're in Whitaker.
Whitaker.
thank you.
Whitaker.
I
Okay.
couldn't remember the-
Connect with Lori. You're from South Carolina, right, Barbara? Connect with Lori, and as y'all connect with the South Carolina people, and y'all try to, if I didn't get together but one time, one of you, move forward with scheduling a Zoom session, and then y'all can talk it out, and and South Carolina people can help each other.
Okay, I did have a question.
Okay.
As far as the organization of Task One, is there, I know you say get as much as we can about the four areas.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a specific order that it should be in? I just want to make sure that I'm not rambling and leave something out.
Right. Go back and look at the prompt, and I would put it in that order as closely as possible,
Okay.
and do your narrative work with that. That's the order that I would follow.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Anything else, Barbara?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Kendra, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. What you have, Kendra?
Well,
First of all, where are you from, Kendra?
I'm in Clover, South Carolina, and I
Okay.
came on late. I missed a little bit of the South Carolina stuff, but I've spent a long time in North Carolina. I'm just coming to South Carolina these past couple of years, and I've dug through and I've found a lot of information, but there's some things that just seem completely different. For example, I found, and you may have already talked about this, I apologize.
It's okay.
Information about like duty-free lunch, but I have not found anything about mandatory planning or like the duties. What I found with some of the law said, basically principal discretion, whatever is reasonable. It said things like that. Not.
Okay. And again, let me stop you. Lori, did you hear that? And Barbara, that again, if that's what it says, then Kendra, again, you need to, South Carolina people, if you can find that documented somewhere, then that's okay. That is part of what you're finding, because you will find that there are things very much different between North Carolina and South Carolina when it comes to some of these things. I have, I do a lot of traveling back and forth between North Carolina and South Carolina, and it doesn't make anything less than or whatever. It's just different.
Yes.
Even in South Carolina, I found this week that there are some districts in South Carolina that they don't even do PLCs. They have not even introduced PLCs.
My school just started 2 years ago, but we're the only school in my district that's doing PLCs.
Right. So, and then there's some districts that are very advanced with it in South Carolina.
Yeah.
In North Carolina, is almost it's a statewide thing.
Yes.
So, you don't go anywhere in North Carolina in the public school sector that, it may be called something differently, but it's the same thing. But again, I have found in South Carolina that there are some places that they just are not doing it yet. So it is a challenge for the candidates, because they are having to, they're the pioneers with it in their schools.
Yeah, and it's different, because I've also found that, I was in Gastonia and now I'm in Clover, so I was in North and then South. And in South Carolina, where I am right now, the teachers have way more planning time and more duty-free lunch, but I don't find any district policy to support that. I think it's just maybe they don't want to write it down, so they have to hold themselves to it. I'm not sure, but You know, some things I guess I could just do that in the critique. They have that, but I'm not finding.
Right.
any
But
law-
then having been in North Carolina, and the ladies that are not from North Carolina, you have been there. You know that the law specifically said that about the duty free, and and it goes back to 150 minutes of physical education activity for elementary kids. You remember all of that, then, don't you?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I thought.
One of my other questions, just in organizing, because I feel like I've pulled a lot of law, or as much as I pulled a decent amount. So I'm working on the whole rest of, just making sure I'm gathering all the information. So when I'm reading the directions, I kind of pulled out, and maybe I'm breaking apart too much, but it said in the analysis, organizational structures, management routines, and operations. And so when I was looking at those things, I guess, I don't know if they need to be, separate things, but some of them are overlapping. I'm not sure exactly what the difference is necessarily between.
And some of them will overlap, and that's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. Again, it goes back to what I said earlier, and I don't know if you had joined us at that time or not. With task one, it's lots of stuff. You are gathering as much stuff as you can possibly gather about the organization, because as you're moving forward with task 2, 3, and 4, you're going to break it down.
Okay.
You're going to break it down, and you're going to look at some things much more specifically. And remember that with all of this, you're going to have to make a decision along with your PLC about what goes into your action plan, because you're basically, when you do the analysis, you're basically critiquing what does it look like and what do I need to fix it to make it better, or what can I recommend to make it better. So at the end of the day, that's what you're doing, with all of this.
Thank you.
Okay, good questions. Again, like I said, when those of you that can join us, and I hope you can, when we come online on Thursday, I will speak with Dr. Lamb, and Dr. Lamb has before he became the director for the program, he taught OMA. That's mainly what he taught. So he's going to be able to shed some things that I can't even shed, because he has worked so much more intensely with it as an instructor. So I'm sure that I'm going to do some research, and then between the two of us, that when we come online on Thursday, hopefully we'll be able to help you out with some things, all of you. That's our goal.
Thank you. I wanted to say too, I really appreciate just even this little session of Q&A, because I was in class with you and Dr. Lamb the last time, and this time my professor is Dr. Talent, and it's we're doing a lot of discussion about the books that we're reading and our discussion board, but I'm kind of I just appreciate this help with the OMA, because we really haven't talked about it much in my other class, and so it's kind of left some of us feeling a little. I just appreciate the help that
you're welcome. And my goal is, and I'll establish it. I'm going to pretty much do this every Sunday afternoon, like this, so that any of you that want to can come online and we can just chat like this, and but you can call me during the week too, Kendra. Remember that. It's okay. I'm on the road a lot, but it's okay. A lot of times, if y'all have a question, I can answer it, and in 2 or 3 minutes, I can tell you what you need to hear, and you don't have to wait until Sunday. So, y'all don't hesitate to call me if you need me.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Well, ladies, I don't know if anybody else is going to join us or not. If you think of anything else, you can ask me. But and then if you want to, y'all can come online and talk to each other until somebody else comes on line. I don't care. And then I'm going to stay online until 7 o'clock, and if I don't hear from anybody else, and then I will see y'all on Thursday. But if you think of anything else, I'm going to be here working for a little while.
Thank you, Dr. Stedman.
You are welcome. You are welcome. And I'm
Thank
going to
you.
do some research on that, Lori. So.
It can be real quick. It
Okay,
looks like
let me ask you this: Can when you look at the screen, can you see my screen that says OMA Final Evidence Narrative Template? Can you see
Yes.
that? Well, thank the Lord, I figured something out. This is a learning curve for me. I'm learning how to manipulate this so that the students can see what I see, and so I was hoping that you could. I pulled it up there on purpose, just to make sure that that I was operating it correctly. But let me pull that up and okay. Okay, here it is. Ladies, can you hear me? I don't know who is it. All of you are still with me.
Mhm.
Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
let's look back under let's go back right now under OMA task 1 and look at the prompt. It says the candidate will research and develop an analysis of school context at the internal and external district, state, and federal levels to include demographic information regarding students and staff and places this information within a state and national context. And again, that goes back, what does state law say? What does federal law say? That's what it's saying when it says from the state and national context. So you're looking at things from as it relates to state law and federal law. And these are the 4 boxes that I was talking about. Number 1, the contextual analysis demonstrates that you, the candidate, has an understanding of district, state, and federal policy, law, and district mandates that regulate structures, rules, and procedures in place for students and staff. And everything that y'all have said, is correct. You may find, as Kendra said, when she was in North Carolina, it was this way, but she's somewhere else now. And she's finding that the structure may not be as stringent as it was when she was at her other school. You may have been in South Carolina, and you may have been in one district in South Carolina and then went to another district in South Carolina, and you'll find that it's like 2 different worlds, from one district. And I know that for a fact by just having visited, that it is like that in some of the places, based on where you work. So all you're doing is you're looking at what is out there. Now, if it's not out there, after you've exhausted all possibilities, then you just have to simply say that our district doesn't have this. I talked with so-and-so. They were not able to direct, just kind of be very candid about it. And then in the meantime, we're going to keep on looking for stuff. And the second box, the analysis includes a critique of current structures and procedures in terms of equitability and transparency. Okay, again, This goes back to your schedules and everything else. What does it currently look like? Put it out there just like it is. Exactly like it is. And
So
then,
that would be where we copy and paste the schedules and things.
yeah, just like it
Okay.
is. And then your narrative work will just help it flow and make sense. So
Okay.
that's all you're doing. Okay, this is what it is. The candidate, number 3, the candidate is strongly encouraged. And when it says strongly, that means you just do it. The candidate is encouraged to include all programs for exceptional learners, diversity education, and special needs population of all types that are served by the school. And again, it goes back to anybody that's listening now. It's not just your learning disabled, your ED. This includes special populations to include English as a second language. If you have migrant education, AIG, if you're in a district like we are in Robinson County, where we have a lot of Native Americans, we have the Native American programs here, the Indian education. So, it's anything. Victoria, your school may have something that another school may not have because of where you're located. So, whatever's there, you just put it out there. And then fourthly, again, all you're doing is identifying these programs, and you're going to just put a synopsis of what they are, right there. All you're doing is laying it out there right now. And then the last thing, the contextual analysis clearly describes the school's budgeting processes and procedures. Exactly what it is, whether it's right or wrong, this is the way it is at my school. This is how it looks like at my school. Within this description, participation of school personnel and the school improvement team is delineated. In other words, as a teacher, what kind of participation do you have? As a school improvement team, what kind of participation do they have? Now, I know what the law says, but it may not be happening at your school. And if it's not happening, you just say it. I can remember as a high school principal that I worked with departments, and whatever money I was given, I would look at the departments, and when you talk about being equitable, my social studies department, I tried to be equitable, but I couldn't give them the same amount of money that I would give my biology department or my science department, because they had to buy a lot of chemicals and those and stuff for labs and things like that. So it wouldn't have been feasible to say, okay, I have 5 departments and I have this amount of money. I'm going to say 5 into this amount of money and give everybody the same amount. That's not being equitable. Equitable means that you take what you've got and you make it fair based on the needs of the departments. Is this happening? But now it may be a school that the principal doesn't do that, and the principal says, I'm in charge of all of this. The school improvement team may do that. You're going to find that more than likely in a lot of places where there's not a lot of involvement in the budgeting process. Probably you're going to find that in a lot of places, but that doesn't make it right. And we're going to put an action plan in place that says, and you're going to be doing some needs assessments later on, and I promise you, when you survey the teachers or the people, that when you put something out there, they're going to tell you. Those in North Carolina, the teacher working conditions survey, it comes out in that. If you're in South Carolina, I think you get the same information through the advanced ed. So, when teachers respond to those things, they're very transparent about what is or is not happening at their schools. So, but again, be as comprehensive as you can in these 4 areas, putting as much stuff as you can in there. And again, if you're all of you are attacking it the correct way and you're asking the right questions. Let me see if somebody else. So somebody left us. Okay, that was it. So nobody else is.
I think I have what I need, so I'm gonna
Okay.
tighten a few things up with ALMA 1 and plan to get that sent on everything.
Okay, that's good. I hope this helped.
It did, and I'm just gonna
Okay.
ask tomorrow maybe if there's someone at the district level that maybe has some of these laws printed, or I'll see what I can figure out.
And
for
what
that.
I'm going to do, Victoria, I have some students from South Carolina that did a very good job, and they finished the program in December.
Mhm.
I'm going to reach out to them, and it may be that. Let me just see what I can do. Let me see what I
That
can
would
do.
be
And
great.
I may can be able to get some information through them and say, how did you get this information? Where'd you get it from? So I'm going
Right.
to reach out to some of them. I'm going to send a message out to a couple of them tonight and ask them to give me a call. And I'm
That
going
would
to
be great.
pick their brains and try to help y'all out. Okay?
Yeah, because I heard Kendra had the same issue. She wasn't on when I was talking about mine, Kendra, but I was telling him I've dug through pages upon pages
Yes.
of laws, but nothing related to management routines.
Okay.
They're all related to I mean, they're educational laws, but it's more like certification and dismissing of a teacher. I think nothing really relevant to what we're doing. I can't seem to nail any of those down. So
Right.
I'll see what I can figure out tomorrow.
Okay. And then I'm going to look on my end as well for you guys.
Okay. Well, you all have a good night. Thank you.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
I think I'm good too. Good night.
Okay. Good night.
If Victoria though, if she wants I don't know. I don't know if she's in my other class, but if there's some way to hook up with the South Carolina people, that'd be great. Because I did find some things. It's just not necessarily, the same things as North Carolina.
Okay, and Kendra, when we come online Thursday evening at 6 o'clock, don't hesitate to ask that question. Just say, South Carolina people, can we connect, since there's some things that that are different here, and we can just say it.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, have a good night. Thank you
You
so
too,
much.
Kendra. Okay, bye bye.